The numbers have simply grown, though, as not only the upper crust, but also this just plain rich start to use helicopters. And we had an opportunity to hitch a ride with a businesswoman, and I have to say I was just amazed, not only at the views, but how fast you can get around this city, John. Take a look at this adventure.
Between photo shoots and power lunches, Cosetti Gomez doesn't have a lot of time to waste. The model turned businesswoman owns 8 companies and attends at least 5 meetings a day across São Paulo. The only way to make it on time? By helicopter. Gomez takes us for a ride high above Brazil's sprawling business capital. We stay nice and dry and after a few minutes land on the Hotel Emiliano halfway across the city. I ask her how long the same trip would take in a car.
Well, it's going to be around 1 hour.
And we can do it in 3 minutes.
Yeah, we did it in 3 minutes.
Gomez is not alone. Sao Paulo competes with New York as the helicopter capital of the world. The city's traffic jams are notorious, and 900 new cars hit the roads every day. Those who can afford to take to the skies. Over the past decade, Brazil's middle class has ballooned. Its upper crust has also grown. Sao Paulo alone is home to 1,880 people with net assets of $30 million or more. That's according to the widely cited Wealth Report. It's no surprise many of them fly over Sao Paulo's gridlock. But they're not the only ones.
Helicopters aren't just for the super rich and famous anymore. Now we're going to take a different kind of taxi ride.
Jorge Pitar has a 10-aircraft fleet operating out of the Campo Marte airport. In a pinch, you can order an air taxi from his company, Helimarte. But most of his clients are regulars. They've signed up for a prepaid service, 20 flight hours a month for about $1,800.
Today, helicopters in São Paulo aren't a luxury, they're a business necessity.
Pitar himself is a pilot. He takes us on an aerial tour of the helipads lining the new business center.
The city is designed with helicopter routes that have 2 lanes like they were avenues.
There are more than 500 flights a day and a whopping 195 helipads positioned around the city. Most of them just a few minutes away as the bird flies.
Now that's the really interesting trend, John, just that you have so many people up in the skies these days and the idea that it really is a business tool. Our only problem is trying to convince CNN that we should also get one. What do you think?
Yeah, we've been lobbying as well to get one from Abu Dhabi to Dubai and back when we go to do our interviews. Nobody's listening just yet. Back to São Paulo and some of the challenges you face there. It's interesting. We've heard this during your interviews last week with a number of the CEOs. Largest GDP of any Latin American city, but there's a lack of infrastructure. Is it starting to dig into growth where this worn-out infrastructure actually holds back commerce, and that's why they've taken to the air with the helicopters?
That's definitely a part of it, John. Also, for so long, for decades, really, the city was focused on the upper crust. So they built tunnels so they could put fancy names on them. They built highways. There is so little public transportation in Sao Paulo, and it's really that fact that's made it so difficult to get around. So now, as the middle class balloons, people who couldn't own cars before want to buy cars because they can't take the metro, they can't take the bus without spending 2 or 3 hours just to get to work every day. And that means you get more cars on the road, and it's becoming unsustainable. And so anybody who really needs to do business and get around the city to make a bunch of meetings has to consider this as a viable option.
Okay, Shasta, thanks very much. Shasta Darlington in São Paulo. We look forward to your coverage throughout the week here. Today, taking us above the buildings there in this sprawling city.